Autism is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects the functioning of the brain. It affects language and communication, socialization, delayed social development, especially interpersonal. They're very rigid in their way of thinking and behavior. Another are the sensory disturbances. It's known as the quadrant of impairment. Statistics shows us that 1 in 88 children are being diagnosed annually. There are 4 times more boys than girls. 1 in 54 boys are diagnosed. 10 to 17% annual growth who is being diagnosed with this condition. In Western Cape, there are 10 children who are being diagnosed each week between Red Cross, Tygerberg and Lentegeur alone.
What motivated me to start this organisation, Autism Connect? It was really from my own experience when I found out about my son Tyler that was diagnosed with autism. He was 3 at the time. He was diagnosed with autism in 2007. It's been a journey from the time Tyler started his diagnosis, or was diagnosed rather, and not really knowing what the condition is about, what it entails, how do you manage it, how do you just everything. It was just such a lot of questions and questions that comes into one's mind, and since that time, myself and my husband at the time, we went through a journey of just finding out about the condition and how does one work with this, where do you really start. And he was then referred to from the neurologist that referred him, and this is just how the system currently worked, and I think still works. He was referred to an autism specific school, and when Tyler was referred to the school, you go through a process where they go onto a waiting list into one of the autism specific schools here in the Western Cape, and not knowing how the process worked at the time, we were put on the waiting list for about a year, and we went and they go through a screening and observation process, and in one's mind you are so optimistic. You get the chance, your child is going to be into a school, he's going to receive all the required help, intervention that is needed. And back then we still didn't really have an idea really how does one really work with a child with this condition. To our surprise, Tyler was not accepted at the school. What did we then do? At that time, we approached various organizations to inquire about schooling for the child, but it was just not affordable for us at the time. Coming to find ourselves in a place where we really had no other means of having our child in an education system that is specific, designed for the child. So the idea was there, and in my mind I asked myself, how do I really get this off the ground? It was something in my mind that I knew can work, and there is a great need out there in the Mitchell's Plain community alone. And we registered the organization as a non-profit organization. We started operating. At the time when we opened currently from my home, we couldn't afford premises. There was just no means for us to source premises, and this is where it all began. 2 teachers on board that is trained in the field, They didn't come from a background of knowing how to work with a child with autism. One of our teachers is a qualified early childhood development teacher, and really coming from a mainstream environment, she had the heart, she had the passion, she came on board and just really everything just fell into place. And another teacher, Brenda, that has the heart and that has the passion, and that really just have that motherly way of working with our children.
I started with Autism Connect in 2012, the 16th of January. We are 1 year old in this 2013. We started with 3 children, 3 boys. At Autism, that time the name was Autism Learning Centre, Autism Learning Centre. We started with 3 boys, and at the moment we've got 9 students at our school and 3 aftercares from Beacon. There's 3 of us working here at Autism Connect. We are 2 teachers during the day, and the lady that helps us, Auntie Narima. The development and the programs that we have at Autism Connect is all part of everything that you usually do with any child at any school. We teach them life skills, all type of skills that a child must be taught. With them, it's just it takes a while. With some of them, it's quicker. With some of them, it takes a few months, and that is how they develop. But they must be observed, and each and everything must be introduced to them before you can do anything with them. No matter what it is, if it's learning skills or whatever skills, they must be taught. They must first be introduced to the issue, to the work that they must do, to be independent, how to put on their clothing. They must be introduced. You must show them first, this is how it must be done. With the work, you do the work before you give it to them. This is how you introduce. Everything must be introductive towards them. Some of them, there's a part of our kids that has a low muscle disorder. With them, it takes a bit longer because of the handling and the strength within their muscles, and that is when it isn't as difficult as what we think it might be. It's only the introduction, and then once we introduce stuff to them, they understand, this is what I must do, this is how I'm supposed to do it, and that is how they learn. Alfonso, I'm going to show you the daily program, what we usually do during the day. This is our daily schedules that we have during the day. We have a circle time in the mornings from 8 till 8:45. We do the whole hello song, the welcoming song. We do the register, the weather and the calendar, the days and song time, story and devotion. That is what we have during the circle time. And then we have a toilet routine and the washing of hands routine. And from 9 o'clock, then we start with our class time at the table. Each child sit individually at their own tables. And then we have like bathing, messy play, sorting, matching, literacy, numeracy, puzzles, as you will see when we go in. This is what we do during the day. Then we have snack. We have a slot of outside play. Then we have a snack time. Then we have another toilet routine. The toilet routine, and most of them has been trained at Autism Connect. And after the toilet routine, then we have outside play. Alfonso, we also have a sensory room. And in the sensory room, I would like to show you what we do with the kids there. This is the sensory room. This is where we do the physical therapy with each and every child. We have a physical therapy schedule, and this is all the different types of oils that we use on them. The chimes we use, because this is different, this is also part of the sensory, part of the hearing, and was to see if they are resistant towards this noise. Is it too much noise or not for them? Before we bring the child up, I prepare the room in a very cool environment for them. Before I begin with a child in the mornings, in the sensory room, I start with a very, very, very cool environment. Like I said, then I prepare the room for them. I play music, very soft music, just to make it easier for them to relax and to be calm. Just be themselves and don't have any fear within them or anxiety. Feeling the first layer, what Tyler will start with feeling the first layer. I will mix these two oils together. Yes, we start with the hands. Come boy. Alright. I see his tongue is sore. We start with the hands. And this is how they start trusting your hands. And then I will allow him to take just a little bit on his own and rub it onto his own hands. Rub boy. Rub, there you go, clever boy. And rub on the arms. Smell. Tyler, smell. Smell. Smell, boy. Smell. Smell. Nice. Relax. J down. Relax. And then we start with the face. He loves the deep, deep pressure. That is what he loves. As you can see, you will press your hands down. Relax, boy, relax, relax. Hands, hands. Thank you. Thank you. As you can see, I'm just massaging the muscles of the arms just to loosen it up a little bit. He's actually an athlete. He's very flexible within his arms and his legs, but he doesn't actually do much exercises like he usually does. But he's an athlete. Come, relax, boy, relax, relax. Legs straight. As you can see, this is how I speak to them. They understand, and this is how I teach them like their life skills and understanding. Rub, 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 rub on your arms. On your arms, boy. First your hands, now on the arms. Right. Come. Yes, yes. I teach them how to apply lotions on their bodies themselves. I introduce it to them firstly, and then I make them do it themselves, so that they will be able to apply lotions or whatever, and that is how they become independent. There you go, clever boy. As you can see, he was introduced now of me first rubbing the aqueous cream into his arms. Now he's doing it on his own. 3. Yeah. Okay, this is Roscoe. He's also one of our students. Roscoe is the opposite of Tyler because Roscoe is resistant. He resists smells, oils, lotions, and he's one of the children that has low muscle disorder. The low muscle disorder is when, as you can see, the limbs is very low, as not as strong as the other kids, and their balancing is weaker. They fall over very quick. So with him, this is the oil that I use, the arnica oil. Wait, boy.
Okay, before you talk, put the oil on. That
Okay.
starts.
Okay. This is what I usually use on him, but he resists this oil also. But this is the oil that I usually use on him to strengthen his muscles and to ease whatever pain he has within his arms, legs, or body, wherever on his body that I know that he will need it most, and just to make his legs stronger. As you can see, he resists anything. This is the way he resists. He covers, he pushes you away. He doesn't accept anything. If you put the oil in his hands, come boy, only a little bit. As you can see, he won't allow me to give him oil. Right. And this is what he does. He won't rub it on him. Right. Oh, his fear is now. Come. As you can see, he's resistant towards it. He fights you. You can't actually use anything on him. But I must introduce whatever there is on him so that he can get used to it and understand that this is what we use and this is what he needs. His body needs for his sensory input. Yes, nice. And that is how they pick up words as I'm busy with them. Then I will say words, I will speak to them as normal as possible. And that is how they pick up words, like he just said now, nice. Thank you, Roscoe. Right, Alfonso, now we're in the kitchen. As you can see, we were in the sensory room now. This is Auntie Narima. She is in charge of the kitchen. I'm going to leave you in.
I'm the first one here. I'm Narima Nazir. I'm assistant steward here. See to the children's lunch, snacks. In the morning, I'm here from 6:30. I'm the first one to welcome the children into their classes, give their breakfast, prepare everything for them, the breakfast. And then I prepare their snacks at 10:30. And then from there, I prepare their lunches. Now, I'm calling all of the teachers and they would help me give the snacks to the children.
I'm Carol Moses and I'm also a teacher here at Autism Connect. Today I'm just going to talk about the pics that you guys see on the board. We're not there yet using it, but I've gone on a teach training and I've learned about it so far. It's also the pics is a way of communication, and so we use this, like we're getting to the point of where we're going to introduce pics to our children, and it's a form of communication, like I said. Like if they need to sit down, we will show them the picture. We'll take the picture off and we'll ask them to sit down, if they can sit down, and that's how we communicate. Okay, when we ask them to be quiet, we'll show them the picture and we'll put our hand there so that they can see that it's not only the picture, but we're also showing it to them, and they can see us as the teacher, the way that we communicate to them. Okay, and then this is like schedules that we are busy working on, that we're busy trying to implement. There's also like visual schedules, because we believe that our children are visual learners. Okay, so they are not vocally, they don't, like some of them don't communicate, or non-verbal kids, and so we introducing our pics. Okay, so we also have a new thing that we do. We do some recordings, and I'm in charge of that. So we take recordings on where the children, from where they started and where they going to within their work progress. So we play that every term when we have a parent meeting. So we get to play it to the parents, and they can see how far the children has progressed.
My name is Donna Davids.
My name is Tyron Davids, and we are parents to Micah Davids, who is 5 years old and attends Autism Connect.
I did first know that Micah was diagnosed with autism. At about, I think it was 8 months, my husband and I noticed that Micah wasn't reaching the necessary milestones. And that milestones included making eye contact, also imitating various sounds. He wasn't babbling, he wasn't imitating, like I said. We got various advice from family and friends that said boys are naturally slow, and due to that we decided that we weren't going to be too concerned. Micah then turned a year and he still wasn't imitating any sounds, and it was a cause of concern for myself, for my husband, and also for various members of our family. Based on that, we had taken Micah to a neurologist, and they basically diagnosed him with something called pervasive developmental delay. They said that in terms of Micah's mind and his brain, everything works well. However, speech is a problem, and with that comes behavior issues. When my husband and I noticed that Micah wasn't imitating certain words, the first thing that we were told to rule out was to see if there was anything wrong with his ears and his hearing. We both had gone to an ear, nose and throat specialist. They tested Micah's hearing and it came back positive, meaning that there was nothing wrong with his hearing. The next step was obviously to go to a neurologist, which we did, and they diagnosed him then. What is pervasive developmental delay? As per the neurologist, developmental delay is a condition whereby the brain functions normally, however speech is rather slow and underdeveloped. So in terms of Micah's understanding and interacting with people, it's not a problem, it's just verbal communication, and that is the problem, and that is something we have to work on.
How did the awareness and discovery of autism in my son affect me and my family? Well, as a father, and it is your first son, it was a bit difficult. It took me a while to actually tell my family firstly, mother and extended family, about his condition and his diagnosis, as well as my colleagues at work and even my close personal friends. It does take getting used to, but I believe that Micah is special, and for a father to see that his son can't talk, you have to make a conscious decision that there's nothing wrong with him, there's nothing lacking from him, he can do everything that any other child can do. The only thing that you can do is love him more. And I think that really at first I struggled with personally, and yeah, like I said, it did affect my family, but I know that he's special, and it's now no more waiting for him to talk. It's just a matter of when he's going to talk and when he's going to reach the milestones that is set out before him. And with all the interactions that both my wife and I and his siblings have with him, I don't think there's anything that he's lacking. I don't think there's anything speech, anything else that is lacking. I think we move past the stage of asking and waiting. It's not just a matter of him just getting to that point where he can just say and do the things that he needs to do.
How did we find out about Autism Connect? After Micah was diagnosed with autism, the neurologist suggested that we put Micah on Risperdal. It's basically medication that made Micah very lethargic, and they suggested that they at least told us that he wasn't ready to go to any kind of preschool yet. He needed to go to a special school. My husband and I made a decision that we weren't going to put him on the medication because it made him very lethargic, and we didn't know our son. He just sat there and he used to rock, be quiet and confused, and that's obviously not what we wanted for him because he was a little boy. And although his hyperactivity at times put a strain on us, at the end of the day was our son, and little boys are supposed to run around, and that's what we wanted for him. So what we did was we had a speech therapist / occupational therapist come to our home and do a special program with Micah. And although we could definitely see the progress, it was very slow. One day in the local newspaper, I saw an ad advertising Autism Connect. I then made a phone call at the beginning of the year, and for some reason, I didn't touch base with Autism Connect, and Micah went to another school. During the process of looking for an appropriate school for Micah, my husband and I came to the conclusion that having a son with autism, or that's on the autism spectrum, is a very expensive exercise because there's so many organizations that charges an arm and a leg. You need your son to see an occupational therapist, you need them to see a speech therapist, and at the end of the day, all these costs kind of add up.
And these schools that's out there as well, it is for my personal feeling, I don't know how my wife feels, but I think she feels the same, is that some of these schools out there, they are just not in it for the love of the children, to see the children grow. They're in it to line their own pockets. And coming from the community of Mitchell's Plain that we're in, certain people will actually not send their child to an autism school because they can't afford it. And I think that's it's not just the cost that's the problem. I think it is more of the understanding of autism. And when we put our son into this one school, Although it was deemed as a good school, he was always bullied, he always got hurt, and you could see it was just for the mere fact that the children was there. He was there for close to 2 years and there was no progress. And I mean, from a Autism Connect, not just from a outsider looking in, from a father perspective, is that if I can look at my son now compared to where he was a couple of years back, it is miles apart.
And also in the previous school that Michael was at, because of his hyperactivity, what they used to do to him is they used to put him in a car seat. Now he was 2.5 years old, and if you confine a child to a car seat and you allow him to a boy to sit there for 2 hours, obviously he's going to act out and become aggressive. And then that was one of the telltale signs where we made a concerted effort to look for a new school, and that is when we came across an ad in the paper for Autism Connect. We then touched base with Nikki. We both came for an interview. We also brought Nikki his letter that we received, the diagnosis that he received from a neurologist. And then Nikki, basically, she deals with Autism Western Cape, and everything that the report that the neurologist gave her, I'm sure the neurologists in their own respect, in their own capacity, they have their own opinions. But when Nikki met Micah and the people from Autism Connect also met Micah, what they saw in him was contrary to what the neurologist had said. So the label that was placed on my son by a neurologist wasn't necessarily who Micah was. And then when Micah got here, and I think in the first 6 months, Tyra and I could see a drastic improvement in Micah's behavior, in Micah's speech. When Micah wasn't saying single words, he started saying mommy and daddy, and he started calling his brother and his sister Jordan and Noe. And although he doesn't necessarily round off his words properly every day, he's definitely saying more words, trying to string sentences along, following instruction, having interactive conversations, things he never did before. And Dad and I are extremely grateful to Nikki and to her team for what they've done in Micah's life, not only from an educational perspective, but also from a spiritual perspective. They've also been here for us as parents, in terms of just counseling and giving advice and encouraging, and for that we're very grateful.
How did I find out about my son's diagnosis? I didn't know he had autism. At first I was in denial, because one day I got home and my sister was sitting there and we had a chat, and then Roscoe came past her and she was talking to Roscoe. And then Roscoe didn't make eye contact, and I didn't notice it at first. And then she told me I had to take Roscoe to a doctor because she thinks Roscoe's got autism, and I'm like, what is autism? And she explained to me that she watched a program on ETV, I think it was the Oprah mini show. And then she explained to me, and then afterwards I was still not sure if I had to go or what I should do. And then as time went past, actually Roscoe was about 2 or turning 2, and I went to the clinic. The nearest clinic is Westridge. I went there and I saw the sister there, and then I explained to her what was wrong with Roscoe. And then from there she wrote out the letter for me to go to Red Cross. Then got to Red Cross, I saw the speech therapist, and they did some tests, hearing test, and when they got the results, the speech therapist told me like Roscoe was like deaf. And it hit me, because how can my child be deaf? This is not on. I told myself, no, this is not. I'm not going to take this in because my child is not deaf. That is what I told myself, because she asked me, how am I taking it? And I told her, no, my child is not deaf. I don't think my child is deaf. I think there's something else wrong with my child. As time went on, we went to Red Cross again and saw the doctor, and he explained
what actually is wrong with Roscoe. And then he told us about the symptoms called autism. And explained to us what it is, and I was just like sitting there and I didn't know what to say or anything. And then as time went past, we got the date for speech and orthopedic therapy, and we went. But besides that, I couldn't deal with the fact that my child had autism. A child that couldn't talk, how do I deal with it? How do I go through life having a child like this? Seeing that I'm a mother of 2 children, it's going to affect my family. It didn't actually affect my family that much, but it affected my husband and me because we had to deal with the situation. My marriage led into a divorce, and I ended up staying with my mom, and I was looking for a place for Roscoe because my mommy was, at the time, she was 65, I think, and she was in old age already, and it wasn't fair on her to look after Roscoe. As time went past, I was looking at the place for Roscoe. I went to this one creche, also not far from us, and I asked them if they can't take on a child. I explained my situation, and they said they did have a child with autism, but they couldn't because it interfered with the other children and it started giving problems, so they couldn't take on Roscoe. How did I find out about Autism Connect? In the daily newspaper. Then I just phoned the number and I spoke to the lady on the phone, and we had an interview, and from then on Roscoe was developing great. He got off the nappy, he was starting to say single words, his behavioral problems was more better, it was more easier for us to handle him. And you know, the team that she has is so great. They know how to embrace you. They know how to how can I say now? To make you feel comfortable. You come in, you take your child in the morning, and they've got this loving and warm-hearted welcome. And I am very grateful for them. Because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have known where myself and my son would have ended up, or where my son would have ended up actually. With the development and the condition of Roscoe, from where he was and where he is now, it is brilliant, and I can just thank Autism Connect.
Currently, the upkeep of the centre is dependent on the fees that we receive from the parents. I'm obligated to maintain my full-time job. There is still expenses. There's a bond that's got to be paid. This is the place where we run the centre from, and it's important that we have a sustainable income that comes in on a monthly basis. We were in 2012, we were very fortunate to receive a good sponsor from the corporate that I work for, Tobias Marine. Chatted to them, and I made the application, and I'm so grateful to them for coming on board. They really grabbed hold of the initiative. They understand the heart, they understand what is the need in this community, and they came on board with a very generous donation to the centre. We were able to buy equipment, we could buy learning resources, as well as elegant plastic displays for their generous contribution to our centre on a continuous basis.
Hi, my name is Dominique. My involvement with this organization is basically championing for this organization. My role is resourcing and looking at ways to optimize the centre and also looking at ways to sustain the centre financially, whether it be through fundraising or sourcing people who would be willing to donate generously. So that is basically my function in the organization, always looking at managing risks and optimizing where we can do things better.